What is up, guys? NYKF31 here. And it is here. NFL opening week, second week of college football. Been watching football wall to wall all weekend. Haven't really gone outside except to go to the gym and get food. That's been it. And that's the way it's going to be every weekend for the next 5 to 6 months. That is what your football weekends consist of. And after watching Notre Dame almost give me a heart attack, I put this together and put my thoughts together for the upcoming NFL season. So I'm going to go through my predictions for the NFL. And I'm going to start with the AFC. And, you have in the AFC your reigning top tier teams, the Patriots, damn them to hell, the Broncos. In the AFC South, you have the Colts. In the AFC North, going into the season, the Ravens and the Steelers. I guess if you asked 50 people, 25 will pick the Steelers, 25 will pick the Ravens. And you have the Bengals, who I don't really take seriously due to their quarterback. But they can, hang in there. They're the type of team that always finds a way to go 9-7, 10-6, and be in the mix going to the last couple of weeks of the season. And then you have the AFC East, which I think is the most interesting division in the conference. You have the Pats, the reigning Super Bowl champions, and then you have the Dolphins. Do I have the guts to pick the Dolphins over the Pats? That is the question. I'm sick and tired of the Pats. I've been sick and tired of the Pats for years now. Everyone's sick and tired of picking the Pats. They have to have a down point one of these years, right? Or a down year one of these years. But the problem is when you factor in the quarterback, still one of the top two in the business. You factor in the coach, still one of the top, two, three, four in the business. It's hard to pick against them, especially in a division where you have two teams, the Jets and the Bills, that have an unproven quarterback in Tyrod Taylor, who I'm rooting for, who I happen to like, and my Jets, who have the immortal Ryan Fitzpatrick, and the Dolphins, who has a quarterback that I feel is ascending. I've been trolling Tannehill, calling him things like Trashy Hill, but I got to give the guy credit. He just keeps on getting better and better. But is his development and the defensive changes or additions or additions that they added going to be enough to push him over the Pats? I mean, you lose Revis, you lose Browner, you plug in Butler, you still have Devin McCourty at safety and a pretty good defense, and you still have Gronk and receivers that fit their system. It's really hard to do, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I am going to put the Dolphins over the Patriots for the division, with the Patriots still making the playoffs. And I'm going to do that because I feel like Wake and Sue are going to be a problem. I believe Wake and Sue are going to really impact how they play defense, and they're going to be able to really get after people and cause disruption and problems. And you have a pretty good back end with Miami. They can do some things with Grimes and the kid at free safety, who I really like. Rashid Jones really impresses me, and with that front four with Olivier Vernon, Wake, and Sue, I think they're going to cause some disruption. And then you have the Jets and the Bills, which are pretty much two teams that are damn near identical. With the Jets, they have good receivers, they have a good back. The line is kind of shaky. They have a beast front seven and good corners. It's all going to come down to the quarterback for them. And same with the Buffalo Bills. And one of those two has to finish last. The Bills D is going to be a problem for people, and they have a lot of explosiveness at the skill positions. And while I'm rooting for you, Tyrod, I got to put my Jetsies above you. I'm rooting for Ryan Fitzpatrick more. But the Jets Bills games are going to be fun. Those are going to be some serious troll games for Mr. Rex. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. In the AFC Central, I'm riding off the Bengals. I think they've gotten as far as they can possibly get with Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is a glorified game manager quarterback, and you can only get to a certain point with that type of player, unless you just have great pieces around them. I think they've kind of capped out, and Baltimore and the Steelers are the class of that division, and there's not a whole heck of a lot separating them. I still like the Steelers to win that division. I think they're going to be better later in the season than early. They're kind of banged up right now, but once they get their weapons back, they're going to have one of the more potent offenses in the NFL, if not arguably the best offense in the league. Their secondary scares you to death, and their ability to generate pressure scares you to death. Jarvis Jones has that bust look to him, especially. So defense, they're kind of shaky. I think Baltimore has the edge on them there, and I think potentially the OC combo of Mark Trestman teaming with Flacco can do some good things. I just think that Ben is a notch above. That he's one of those guys who can carry a team and mask the deficiencies of the Steelers on the other end of the ball enough to win that division. The Colts in the AFC South only because no one else is ready. Tennessee's breaking in a rookie quarterback, and as I said before, I'm not in love with either one of them. Texans have no quarterback. The Jags have a ways to go. I just hope they keep Gus Bradley around long enough because they do play hard for him. They just need so many pieces. So the Colts basically have a cakewalk to win that division. But I don't like them as a Super Bowl team the way a lot of people do because they have some very serious shortcomings. They have a video game offense at the skill positions. I mean, they're great there. Luck is great. But they have no offensive line, which will get you pounded against really good teams. So they'll have problems protecting him like they always do. And they'll have problems running the ball as a result of that as well against really good teams. They have no defense. They don't stop the run. They don't run it. They don't cover outside of Vontae Davis. They don't stop anyone. They're actually a lot like the Steelers. But the Steelers are a little bit better. They're a better version of the Colts. AFC West, I'm going to go a little bit off the board. I think we're nearing the end of the line with Peyton. I think the defense is going to be very good, but I think Peyton has to be managed more than he's ever been. I just think physically he's breaking down. I think the arm is not the same. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid, Alex Smith, Jamal Charles, and that defense. They're going to play good defense. I think the Chargers are kind of what the Chargers are, somewhere between 7-9 and 9-7. Raiders have a ways to go still, but I think they can be a pain in the behind. I don't think the Raiders are just grossly incompetent anymore, but they have a lot of work to do. On to the NFC and the NFC East. Let me start with the New York Football Giants. The Odell Beckham Jr. phenomenon has created this perception that the Giants are better than they really are. People actually think the Giants are a good team. Giants aren't very good. They have a lot of holes. They have a streaky up and down quarterback. I happen to like Eli, but Eli's streaky. He can either be a guy who looks like the best QB in the league, or he can be a turnover machine. That's just the way Eli rolls. And OBJ had a great season, no doubt about it. But I feel like his success has overrated the perception of the team. Victor Cruz is coming off ACL surgery. Ruben Randall stinks. That guy blows more routes and drops more passes than anyone on this earth put together. They haven't been able to run the ball forever. They keep on bringing in linemen and they keep on getting hurt. They have holes at linebacker. They have a guy, their best defensive player, nearly blew his hands off. They got issues. They're going to be fighting for the Redskins to stay out of the NFC East cellar. Redskins are a circus, as we all know. And I'm a Chip Kelly believer. I believe in Chip. I believe in his system. I believe in his wackiness. I believe in his roster moves. And when I look at what separates Philly and Dallas, I look at the player that Dallas lost that Philly gained. DeMarco Murray, he will do well in that system, not a doubt in my mind. And you replace him in Dallas with Darren McFadden, good luck with that. Only a matter of time before he gets dinged up. And that will put more of the game on Tony Romo. And when you put more on Tony Romo's plate, you get mistakes. That's always been the case. And the Dallas defense was a mirage. They weren't much better than they were the previous year. They were just on the field less. Philly's defense isn't going to be mistaken for the Tampa 2 Bucks, the 2000 Ravens anytime soon, or the Seahawks of recent vintage, but it'll be good enough, I think, to hold it down. And if Sam Bradford remains healthy, which is a big if, but if he does, I think they have a big season. I'm talking 12, 13, 14 wins possibly. I'm going all in on Bradford. I'm going all in on Chip. NFC North, the Packers, they'll still win a division even though they don't have Jordy Nelson, although Jordy Nelson may be what keeps the Packers from getting to the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, is the best player in the league. Don't see any drop off there anytime soon. Vikings and the Lions, I feel, will be duking it out for one of the two wild cards. I'm really high on Minnesota. The Minnesota Fighting Irish, as I like to call them, as they have a ton of Notre Dame players on their team. But I love Teddy Bridgewater. I've been on that bandwagon, as you guys know, who've been following me for a while in my college football discussions over the years. I have a man crush on Teddy Bridgewater. Always have, always will. And you put him with North Turner, you give him some weapons, good things can happen. He's got AP back. I think AP is going to be running angry this season. I think he's going to be a man on a mission. And I think that, along with having a threat like Mike Wallace on the outside, a good tight end in Kyle Rudolph, who, if he can stay in one piece, is going to pay dividends. You just have to develop a number two receiver. But if you got Norv running your offense, you can do good things. There's not too many people better than Norv at coordinating an offense. Defensively, secondary is very good and very young, very dynamic. Linebackers are kind of meh. Pass rush has good potential with Anthony Barr and Sharif Floyd. I think the Vikings are on the verge of some very good things. And they'll be right there at the Lions. I think the Lions lost a lot, especially along the defensive line. They'll have a good offense. Amir Abdullah, I feel, is going to be one of the contenders for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think that kid can really play. Stafford, if he can stay in one piece and not blow hot and cold so much, they'll put up points. Defensively, kind of shaky. The Bears, as long as the Bears have Cutler, they're not going anywhere. Not too much to say about them. The NFC South. How in the world are the Carolina Panthers going to score points? That's the question. And is their defense good enough to win games for them during those lulls that they're going to have where there's no one to throw to thanks to Kelvin Benjamin's injury? I think the Saints are vulnerable. I think Drew is starting to hit the back end of his prime years, even though he had a very good year last year, which was kind of forgotten due to the stink bomb their defense was. He had a down year for him last year, but a good year for anybody else. I mean, just a great player, but I think you just run into a time period where you've peaked. You had your chance to cash in another Super Bowl. You got your one. You couldn't take care of other opportunities to get another one, and now you're kind of stuck. He still has years left, but the defense is in shambles, and the only saving grace is that you have a bad Buccaneer team and a flighty Atlanta Falcons team in your division as well. The Falcons can put up video game numbers on offense, but defensively they're a sieve. So, if you're the Saints, if you can find a way to 9 wins, 10 wins, you can still win that division. So it's between the Panthers and the Saints, and I'm gonna go with I'm going to go with Drew. One last hurrah for Drew. If Kelvin Benjamin was healthy, I'd pick the Panthers. He's not. I think that's going to be the difference. So we'll go with the Saints by a whisker over the Panthers in that division. The NFC West. Rams are going to be a pain in the ass, but it's still the Seahawks division to win. The Rams are coming, though. They're coming along. They're going to be a nightmare to play in about 2, 3 years if Foles is still a viable starter. Thing with Foles, I don't think Foles is bad. He's just nowhere close to as good as he was his first year. You know. But if he can be a top half of the league starter with that defensive line, and if they can develop Tavon Austin and work in those backs, they got something cooking. But Seattle's still the class of the league, I think. And my Super Bowl prediction is going to be Seahawks against the Steelers, with the Seahawks exercising their demons. And I have teams like the Browns, the Redskins, who else? The Bears. I have those teams in the Cardale Jones, Cody Kessler sweepstakes. So that is how I feel the season is going to go down. And, you know, I made some off ball picks here and there, but what fun is it to go chalk? Everyone goes chalk. Any dummy can go chalk. you know, so, gotta be creative sometimes. Anyway, love to hear your guys' thoughts. I will talk to y'all later. Peace. Oh, individual awards. Coach of the Year, Chip Kelly. MVP, Big Ben. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Amir Abdullah. Just beating out Amari Cooper. Defensive Rookie of the Year, gosh. We'll go Vic Beasley, just for the hell of it. And Defensive Player of the Year, I will go with. I'll go with J.J. Watt. How's that? So, again, love to hear your guys' thoughts. I'll talk to you all later. Peace.